Hello, welcome to the Mythologue, a D&D live stream, where our cast of lore makers will whip you up a fresh batch of unrehearsed lore every single Monday night at 5 p.m. Pacific time. This is our #1 episode. In Dungeons & Dragons, the Game Master will narrate a story, and the players create the action simply by existing and making decisions as their characters in the story. And when the fates must have their say, there's always the dice. I've got a couple of announcements that I'm going to go through, and I'm going to take a moment to go ahead and share this video to a couple places it needs to go. Anyone who's on with us, feel free to share our video. This is our cast. In the meantime, Adam, wave. Adam is going to play Flickering Flame. Brian, wave. Wexlar and Frackle. Allison, Kian, Fayavis. Marv, Finnick Woodrow. Nikki, Philipangela Tenebris. Linny, Epiphany. Let's see. Let's see if I can find this. Thank you guys, anyone who's tuned in with us.
For clarity's sake, I did tweet and post to the Facebook page the link for the video.
For the video?
Yep.
Perfect. I'm going to share it to my Facebook, Insta, and Twitter, my personal ones where I have the most. Thanks for bearing with us, audience. I have some gratitudes to give. I want to say thanks first to my patrons on Patreon. There's also a brand new Patreon. It's going to be patreon.com/themythologue, all one word. If you'd like to become a patron of the show, please hop on there and subscribe at any level for patron-only content and perks. That is patreon.com/themythologue, and mine is patreon.com/breenetty. So much gratitude to all my patrons there on my Patreon that have made it possible for me to make this story in this world for some of my very favorite players I've ever played the game with to come and have some adventures. Also, great gratitude to my family, my husband Brian, my daughter Ariel, my folks, and everyone else who's been so incredibly supportive. I have fantastic friends and partners and loved ones all over the place that have really supported and encouraged me through the process of gathering this group of people and making this happen. So I want to say thanks to them. I also want to say thank you to Hero Forge for having such an intuitive, easy to use online character creator. We used Hero Forge for our minis. We all got minis from them and are using the character portraits of those minis from Hero Forge. They're not our sponsor yet. Flirting with you, Hero Forge. Finally, I really want to give the most gratitude to these 6 wonderful human beings who have given me their trust and actually want to come and play in my brain. I kind of can't believe it. It's a weird place to be, but thank you guys so much. I love it. I'm so grateful to you the most. A couple of content warnings before we go forward. This is definitely an 18+ show. People on here smoke, drink, curse. We talk about sex. There's really violence. It's a whole thing. So not for kids, and definitely, you know, for everyone else, though. We make it a point to be inclusive and loving and to fight all forms of evil, villainy, and oppression in our world and the real world. So, um, I think without further ado, let me just check. I got to look at my notes here. I've never done this before. I think this concludes the housekeeping. So let's get rolling. Somewhere, sometime, nestled in the folds of the multiverse is a planet called Bard, and on it, the magical land of Veronay. Like many other lands of lore, Veronay is a place of extraordinary beauty, mystery, intrigue, and violence. Throughout the realm, settlements and factions of humanoids rise and fall in harmony and conflict as humanoids do. But vast areas of the land remain wild, unexplored by any but the most courageous or desperate wanderers. One such place is the Mirror, a shifting landscape of mist and more. It is known to contain portals to both the ephemeral dimension of the Feywild and the murky underworld known as the Shadowfell, and is rumored to hold secrets even more precious and dangerous than those doors. What lies in the Mirror, however, is only found if it wants to be. At its fog-shrouded border, on the northern terminus of the Royal Road, our story begins in the tiny, strange, but ancient trading post village of Dwera on the day of the annual bear ceremony. Each of our travelers has arrived here today or within the past week, come seeking the curiosity and mystery of the bear ceremony, perhaps, or for their own reasons beyond or below that. Just today, Wexlarn Frackle and Finnick Woodrow have arrived, having traveled here from the capital city of Plurati, where they had met and made the acquaintance of each other, and while carousing in a tavern, also a bard by the name of Flickering Flame, with whom they had intended to travel, but they discovered was passed out and not ready to leave yet in the morning. So they took off without him. Wandering into town, Finnick and Wex, it's gotten darker and weirder as you've continued north on the road. You all spent the first several days of your travel from Plurati wandering off the road and back onto it again into the forested regions to both the east and the west of the road as you're heading north. You encountered a few travelers here and there. There were a few side roads off to very tiny settlements in the forest and game trails. But as you continued north, the surroundings have become sparser of trees and more shrouded in fog and mist. The gray lands have become saturated with dampness, and it's almost as if a quiet has come over most everything. The trees and birds and animals have become a little more muted and not quite still, but definitely less. And as you arrive in town, you see it's tiny, just very, very small. You see a large central lodge building with a large public square in the middle, and a few small buildings that seem to be public places around the public square. And beyond that, hut-style dwellings, stone and wood with thatch, or in a few cases, wooden or clay shingles. Everything seems to have tendrils of mist through it. But as you arrive in town, the people themselves, though having a bit of a strangeness about them, are quite friendly. They welcome you generously, and you can sense an air of festivity about the town. What will you two do first? Oh, first off, Finnick, describe yourself for us.
Oh, okay. Uh, Finnick Woodrow is a young human on the smaller size. He's got neatly styled green hair, which might be unusual color for humans in some places. Most of his face is taken up by these oversized clockwork goggles. The right side being larger and having this telescoping function, so he's constantly like looking at these maps and devices he's holding. He looks a bit lost and confused. High-brimmed, wrapped cloak, nice leather armor, like never been used, nice. And you can also see strapped to him is this almost comically unwieldy, heavy crossbow with all sorts of little machinations and scopes attached to it. Kind of looks like a silly weapon. But yeah, currently he's just looking at this device, this clunky kind of locket in his hand, and muttering under his breath at it.
All right, give me just a second. I'd like to show everyone a picture of him. Took me a moment to get there, but it won't take me as long next time. This is Finnick Woodrow. And Finnick's traveling companion, Wexlar and Freckle. Will you describe yourself for us?
I would love to. I'm Wexlarn Freckle. I'm a gnome. I have bright blue hair and kind of dark tan brownish skin. I'm very short, energetic, and kind of anxious in nature. So he's kind of skittish. He's looking around constantly. He'll jump at an unexpected sound or something like that. And at this point, I'm looking around the town very nervously and kind of trying to get Finnick's attention as we kind of enter town. Finnick, do you think there's actually bears here? Like live bears? Are they gonna have live bears? Bears eat gnomes.
Finnick's just still like looking around, confused at his maps. Yeah, I'm not really sure what the fauna's like around here, but seems a little less festive than I expected.
But is it like dragons at festival? Like, is it just people in costumes or?
I mean, they might have an actual bear. We should probably ask before when we take you around.
I'm like snack size for a bear. I'm just nervous.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, these people seem nice enough, but there's something off about this place, and my configuration isn't working at all. I can't even tell north from south now. So I'm not feeling too great about this place, honestly.
All right, then. I guess.
As you two enter town, you see that around the square are a tavern slash inn. The central lodge building has a sign above it that in common just says trading post. Nearby, there's also a smaller and sort of a more well-appointed hut, beautifully kept, made of stacked stones and shaped wood with a few bottles illustrated on its sign, and you can see that it is an apothecary. On the other side of the road, you see, or on the other side of the square, you do see that there is a hut with the symbol of Ashira, the goddess of life, and you can see that there's a healer's symbol on the sign as well. And then further on to the other side of the square is another building that simply shows a lantern. There are people moving through the square, and as you're kind of like approaching this central square, which is the main place of the village. I mean, is that what you are going to do, or do you two want to approach in a different way than just on the road into the main section of town? Did you want to try to skirt the outside or do anything else?
I forgot to mention earlier that I have my mule Helgrun with me, who is pulling a cart full of tools and random pieces of metal that are just kind of jutting out from under a cloth. So I would want to stable Helgrun probably upon entering town.
Okay. You can see that there is a stable attached to the inn and tavern. It is a pretty large, it's the second largest building in town after that central lodge. Okay, so as you two begin to head toward the inn, we'll go ahead and move to Epiphany. Epiphany, you've arrived in town this morning. You found your way to the inn and had an absolutely amazing meal. It was some of the best food that you've had, and you've really traveled a large portion of this realm in the last several months, having come from far to the southeast. You've found your way here finally at the end of some fairly incredibly challenging situations that befell you.
And the worst stomach ache.
The worst stomach ache. Having arrived in the morning and gotten a handle on what's around the square, headed to the tavern and gotten yourself a meal, what would you say Epiphany would have done after that?
I think Epiphany would probably want to go and check out the apothecary and maybe talk to some folks in there.
Alrighty. So in the apothecary, this is, again, it's a beautiful building. There are vines with small little blossoms you can see as you get up close. They're not open right now, but there are little bloom buds on the vines that surround both sides of the door into this beautiful place. The door is ever so slightly ajar in an inviting fashion, and as you push it open, you see that the room is beautifully lit with candles and small lanterns, that it smells fragrantly of herbs and flowers. There's a gentle sort of a humidity in the air. Roll a perception check for me, Epiphany. And also, as you do so, Epiphany, looking around inside this beautiful room, what do you look like?
So that was a 15 perception. So Epiphany has, she's a tiefling. She's got tall horns. She's not super tall herself though. She's about 5'5", kind of a small build. She's got green silvery skin and long purple hair that she wears in really ornate braids around her horns. And she does have studded leather armor, but is probably not wearing those just to wander around town. She's probably just wearing some kind of basic looking traveler's clothes. And she has a pack that has all kinds of fun stuff in it, with a ukulele stuck on the back somewhere. Yeah, that's Epiphany.
Okay. With your 15 perception, you can see that there's a small charcoal brazier in the corner that seems to be issuing forth both a wonderful fragrance and some moisture, steam coming up off of it. It's making the air just really feel nourishing in here. Um, and as you look around inside, you see, to your sudden surprise, another tiefling, um, actually, who is the purveyor of the apothecary. He is an older male, very, very dark blue of skin and light pinkish of hair. He has the sort of silver graying of an older tiefling, where perhaps his hair was once a crimson red, um, but now has faded to a nice silvery dusty rose. Um, he he looks up at you, and he wears a pair of spectacles with jewels on the sides and little jeweled um, chain hanging from the spectacles. And he looks up at you, and with the kindliest face, he peers forward. You can see that his horns, unlike yours, which are very gazelle shaped, his sort of curl backwards and around like a ram. And as he leans forward, you see that his nose comes to an almost snout-like point, and he says, "Hello. I don't get to see a lot of kin. Thank you for coming."
Epiphany is really stoked to see another tiefling. She absolutely did not expect that. And she says, "Well, goodness, isn't that wonderful? It's so nice to meet you. How are you?"
I am just great. It is so friendly here.
Well, that is lovely news. I got so lost in the woods. It seemed like forever, and I had the worst stomach ache, but I'm so glad to be here, and I'm feeling much better, and I'm really looking forward to making some friends.
This is good. You're just lovely. Thank you for coming in. How can I help you today?
Well, I'm looking for something. I'm from a place called the Mira. You maybe haven't heard of it. It's kind of a long ways away, but there's kind of a sickness going on there, and it's really affecting our children. And I'm wondering if you've heard of it and if you know of anything that might help. I was sent here by my group, by my clan, to hopefully investigate and find some help for this awful thing that's happening to my clan.
First, I must say, that sounds terrible.
It's just awful.
I just can't believe that's happened to you. And how long did you travel?
Oh gosh, a long time. I think weeks, but it's hard to say because I got so lost, and then I ran out of water, and I even ran out of snacks, and then suddenly I just found a road. I don't know. It feels like a long time, and my hair's grown a little too, so I feel like it must be a really long time.
Oh, my poor dear. Did you say you don't mean the mural, which is really right there?
No, the Mira. It's a village. It's lovely. You should come visit sometime. My mom would really love to meet you.
Oh, that's sweet. I might rather meet your dad.
Well, he's pretty great too.
He winks at you. Says, "Are your parents as kind as you, as kindly and generous of creatures as you?"
Well, everyone in my village is pretty sweet, but my mom always teases me a little that I'm too friendly and too outgoing, and that maybe sometimes my friendliness freaks people out a little bit.
Well, People are going to be freaked out by tieflings no matter what we do or say. So don't let it change who you are, honey.
I just try to be real sweet. Sometimes I try not to smile so big, though. You know,
Your smile is perfect. I love it. So tell me a little bit more about this mysterious ailment.
It just affects the babies. We don't have very many babies anymore. And when we do, there's something not quite right with them. They're a little smallish and a little wrong colorish. They look a little green around the gills, if you know what I mean.
I'm sorry to hear it. It sounds like nothing I've actually ever heard of before.
But nobody has so far.
I only know of one thing that can help with that kind of deep and widespread condition, and that's like a restorative ointment. It's strong magical healing balm, but I don't carry it. It's much more precious than what I normally have on hand.
You know where I could find it?
Higher level alchemists would make it, I'd say, around here. Probably Shala would be a possibility, or if you could find your way to Umbria in the Mirror, there would definitely be much more powerful magic users there.
Thank you so much for your help. This is more help than I got from anybody so far.
Thank you for coming in. Did you want to try anything?
Do you have anything that helps with a tummy ache, just in case that happens again?
I surely do. And he lifts up a tray of little jars and takes the cork tops off of 4 of them and just sprinkles them from scoops, takes a little scoop from each one and custom blends you herbal tincture right there. Says, did you want it now? Shall I brew it for you, or would you like to brew it later for yourself?
I'll just take it with me. Thank you so much. What do I owe you?
Just 1 silver piece, dear little Epiphany.
All right.
My name is Kindness.
It was so nice to meet you, and thank you for this tummy ache tincture.
You're welcome. You come back anytime you want.
Oh, I certainly will.
Feel free to bring your dad.
Okay.
Having spent at this point, Philipendula, about a week or so in town, you've really got the lay of the land. You know what's going on around here. You've been to the inn. You've been to the apothecary. You know what the lantern means above that other door. You know that the healer has an excellent reputation, and that the square and the businesses and the trading posts have become much more populated over the course of the last week as travelers have come into town for the bear ceremony, and as the town itself has become more active getting ready for the bear ceremony in terms of preparing for visitors as well as preparing the festival itself. Homes and businesses are beginning to swathe themselves in beautiful decorations. Plants gathered from far out on the moors have been brought back and dusted off and draped around doorways and windows. People have been lighting up candles and putting them in their windows. It's begun to give a truly eerie vibe to the town. Most of the vegetation doesn't really have any flowers or anything like that to it, and so it's a lot of it is just like mossy branches and stuff like that that have been draped around these doorways and windows. And then the effect with the candles in the windows somewhat lighting up these mossy branches and fern-like plants and stuff like that that people are gathering and decorating their places with. It has given kind of like a dark hollow sort of a feeling, these candlelit windows sort of glowing out from underneath these deeply shadowed mossy hangings. It's festive in a way, but it's also deeply strange, beautiful and haunting. But one of the interesting things about the residents of town that you've noticed is that they really don't seem they seem like they've so learned to live in the mists that it doesn't really seem to affect them. They look and they seem very cheered by the candles and the mossy boughs. The excitement mounting in the village on the way to the bear ceremony has been really something to witness. People have gone from very quiet to really quite chatty, and are excited to talk about what takes place at the bear ceremony and such. So it's about the middle of the afternoon on the actual day of the ceremony itself. Billy, will you tell us what you look like and where you are?
Yeah, so I think Feely is an elf, but definitely looks a lot more flamboyant and almost a little more wild than a lot of other elves seem. They have like this kind of light pinkish lavenderish skin and these like deep green, almost dreads, almost vine-like hair, filled with flowers. They are wearing a like bright, like kind of a pastel-y colored crop top, some very fluffy shorts, and like a half cape, and some thigh-high boots along with that. Feely is incredibly androgynous. Would be very hard to peg a gender one way or another. And I think that they are likely, they're seeking out new things in the village. So anything that hasn't been set up in town in the week that they've been here, or new people wandering into the town. If there's anything specific being set up for the bear ceremony, kind of hanging out there and like pestering people to see if they can figure out what the purpose of it is.
That sounds great. By the way, they sound absolutely beautiful. I really want to talk to them.
Oh, they're stunning. Yeah, also they're about 6.5 feet tall.
Of course they are.
And very slender.
Okay, so anyway. So the newest things happening in the village are just outside of town on this tall, strangely, precisely round hill outside of Dwera, just on the edge of town, outside the last row of dwellings. This oddly round, perfectly mounded semi-sphere of a hill, at the top of which is where the bear ceremony seems as though it's going to be held. There are poles that have been erected at the top of the hill with draperies going between them, almost as if the entirety is being surrounded by like a beautiful border and an archway that, you know, people would cross through to enter the ceremony. There's a path that sort of curves around the hill and then enters that circular area at the top. And at the top, you can see that there is a kind of a bonfire burning in the center of the hill that over the course of the week, it's never any larger or smaller. It's just always burning, this bonfire in the center of the circle at the top of the hill on the edge of town. Tell me, Feely, would you have asked anyone about that?
Oh, almost certainly. Yeah.
All right. So having when you did ask about it, what you were told is that that is Dwera's ever-burning fire, that it showed up one day during the bear ceremony. Roll an insight check for me.
Yeah. That's a 3.
Okay. Yeah, you see as they say, as the person that you're talking to says that the fire just came to be once during the bear ceremony. You see the briefest of shadows pass across their face, but nothing really of note or that you could put a finger on. And they say, yes, it was amazing a few years ago, not during the ceremony, but actually during the winter, a hill giant attacked the village, and the fire itself sprang up into 3 times maybe its normal size and shot 3 fireballs directly into the chest of the hill giant, knocked it out so that we could tie it up and relocate it. So I guess it's protective?
That seems very interesting. Did any of you study it? Have you tried attacking it again or doing anything it wouldn't like?
Oh, not that I know of. I've never imagined doing such a thing.
So you don't know if it's still serving any sort of purpose?
Well, it always lights up the middle of the hill. This little human waitress at the inn is like, is like, whoa, you are blowing my mind. I have never thought about this. A purpose? I don't know.
Well, I suppose maybe you'll be finding out this bear ceremony.
That would be cool. I think I'll go this year. Last year I was scared. I didn't go.
Scared?
Yes. Something strange happens almost every year. Really, every year. Oh, hold on. Okay, just a minute. Anyway, do you need anything else right now?
No, it's fine. Go ahead and do your job.
Okay. Most anyone can tell you a lot about the bear ceremony and the different weird things that happen. Anyway. So she had moved along, leaving you with, more questions than answers. Certainly.
Mhm.
So on this, the day of the bear ceremony, mostly the newest arrivals to town are the druids. Just over the last day or two, druids have been filtering into town from uh, from the surrounding wilderness. And these are people who almost never come to town, and they are uh, deeply interesting, and they remind you a little bit of home. Um, People who seem like they just are like a piece of the forest almost that has just broken itself off and walked into town. Folks that have almost like a bark like skin covering part of their bodies for armor. Other people who are, always living in some form of shift between human and animal. There are different crazy tattoos all over these people, and um, you know each one adorned and some carrying objects of obvious arcane power and purpose. Many of them now in this the day of have begun to gather up on the top of the hill and are setting up, visibly focused.
Um, I think Feely would try and walk up to like the wildest looking one. And probably be like, pardon me, do you have a moment?
Okay, turning around to you, you see a woman who appears as if she might be partially shifted into an elk. She's got a woman's face, but starting right about here, it begins to have hair. And then up here, she's got ears and antlers, and then a big, thick, sort of strong neck and shoulder area, going into really, really muscular arms that terminate in normal hands, big and strong, but normal. And then a normal humanoid torso, but then finishing in the hind legs of an elk. She turns around. She's all that she's wearing, really like wearing, is a series of straps across her body, each one embossed with symbols, arcane symbols of some kind. Uh, she turns around and, yes.
Hello. I haven't seen too many people like you on this side. I was just wondering, is this sort of natural for you, or did you do something to become this way? You know.
I do not wish to share my story with you today.
Oh, no, that's fine. I don't need the whole story. Just a general, is this how you were born?
No.
Great. Thank you for your time.
This is how you were born.
Is this how I was born, or is...
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Thank you. And she turns back around. She's arranging stones on the ground. Definitely looks pretty freaking wild, though.
Uh-huh. Pardon me again. Is there anything I could do to help, or what exactly is the purpose of the stone arrangements? And really, how's this whole thing going?
Are you of the Druidom?
Oh, no, just a terribly curious mind.
I didn't think so. Perhaps you should watch if you wish to know.
Sure, I can watch.
We are busy.
Well, yeah, okay.
She turns her back to you again and continues arranging stones. And as you look around, perform a perception check for me.
16.
Okay, with your 16, you see that the stones that she is arranging are in a certain shape, and that all around the circle at 8 points, a druid is arranging stones in a specific shape. And that at the center, near the fire, several druidim are crowded about, doing something with their, their backs facing out, so they're facing inward toward the fire. But you can see that their bodies are moving, so they're doing some form of weaving of magic of some kind. And each one is unique. Every single one of these druids is unique. But again, with your 16, looking around, you also notice that you are the only non-druid currently at the top of the hill.
Do not think that bothers them.
No, I wouldn't think so either.
No, but would I get any sort of like a sense of, like, you said it was sort of an arcane type thing. Did I get any sense of how this might be channeling magic or anything like that?
Roll an Arcana check.
17.
With your 17, what you see that they are doing is you can see that they are working together, and that what they are doing is somehow creating a container. That they're beginning some process of creating a container. Something involving consecrating the space and preparing it.
And the bear ceremony is today, right? Like, that's happening today?
Yeah, it's tonight.
Okay. I honestly think Feely would be content to just watch any of the preparation until they get kicked out or something. Would just be watching, paying attention, trying to figure out how this is working, what they're doing.
Okay. In all of my hectic preparations, I forgot to put my dice out for myself. Hang on a second. So in what manner are you watching?
Probably mostly from a somewhat respectful distance, but does crowd people's space when they get a little too curious about it. Definitely pacing, like they're not just watching from one spot. They're kind of going all around the space, and yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I'm taking a couple of notes because I'm trying to step up to a better level of DMing for the live stream. So that means taking notes. All right. Roll a charisma check.
Okay. 14.
Okay. You are catching side eye left and right as you pace around. I mean, hardcore side eye. And it's not the kind of like, oh my God, who's that? They're cute side eye that you're used to. It's the like intensifying level of unwelcomeness. Roll insight or perception, your choice, to see how well you notice this.
Surprisingly, it's a 14 on insight.
14 on insight. So you do begin to notice the side eye.
I do not think it occurs to them that they are unwelcome enough to leave of their own volition.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead and roll another one. That'll be another charisma check from you, Phoebe.
19.
Okay. As you do notice there, you notice the side eye, and you try to make yourself maybe a little bit less obtrusive, but still kind of slipping around, but kind of toning your energy down a little bit, becoming more observant. The moment slips by and everyone goes back to focus and lets you continue to observe. So what you see while you're up there is you see these small piles of stones in specific shapes being made at 8 points by these druids. And then you watch as the ones that were gathered in the center around the fire continue making these shapes and movements with their hands in unison. You begin to notice that they're making the shapes and movements in an ongoing pattern, that it repeats itself, and that they are doing these same shapes and movements over and over again in unison all together. And as they do, they slowly begin to step backwards and backwards and backwards, continuing. And as they come closer to you out on the outside edges of the circle, you can hear that they're actually murmuring a chant in some arcane tongue that you do not know. They step backwards and backwards and backwards further out towards the outside edge of the circle until they actually step past you and arrive at the outside edge where the poles have been erected with the draperies of fabric in between them.
I would like to clarify, Feely is going to be keeping back behind them. They're worried that they're going to break some kind of a circle and just like...
Okay, so out of respect for the ritual, you keep yourself outside of the perimeter. Okay. They don't seem to notice much of anything or anyone that's around them, although they do deftly and without any trouble move around the small piles of stones and all of the other druidim that are there working. They step back and back, and they arrive at the outside edge where the poles have been erected, and eventually the movements stop and the chant completes. And you see them all breathing in unison. And as you watch, you actually watch from each of these druids' hearts, a green light begins to glow. And these green lights begin to glow until the point that all of a sudden, on one breath, these lines of energy shoot out and connect every single one of these 8 druids with each other across and throughout, crisscrossing through the circle and lining all the way around it, lines of green light. This energy seems to focus, and you can almost hear the like zzz, as these lines become more and more and more intensified, and then they grow upwards and begin to expand, still extending from the hearts of the druids as a web, one from the other, to each and every one across the circle and next to each other around the perimeter, creating this web of lines of green energy that then become this dome that completely surrounds the top of the hill. And then in a single breath, it disappears. At least visibly. We'll return now to Finnick and Wexline entering the tavern, where they see a pretty big crowd, pretty good crowd for a little tiny village like this. Entering the tavern, you see a sign above the door. It says "The Last Hearth." It is weather beaten. It looks like it's been recarved and repainted hundreds of times. A giant, super heavy wooden sign. And as you two enter this old building, make a perception check, both of you. Oh, Epiphany, by the way, your tummy feels a lot better.
I got a 9, so Finnick is still just like messing with his maps. That little device. He barely, the door kind of hit him on the way.
Right. All right, Wex.
Natural 20.
Okay. All right. Walking in, you notice that this building and the Trading Post Lodge building are heavily fortified. These two buildings are made of not just one wall of stone, and you can see this because they're basically next door to each other, so you kind of, pass nearby the trading post on the way into the tavern. Layers of stone wall, thick and heavy rocks piled close together and mortared and remortared. You can see that anywhere that any weakness has come about, it's been patched and repaired. On these buildings, you saw that there was were actually clay and wooden shingles on both of these buildings, and that they are that once you go inside, you see that beneath those shingles they are massive beams, cut from some of the huge trees, the giant evergreens that y'all had passed in the forest along the way. This building is made to withstand attack, and before you enter it, you can see places where it's been repaired, where it has withstood attack, long ago and recently. With your natural 20, you also, upon walking into the tavern, you see that it's very cheerful in there. The hearth for which this inn is named is an absolutely gigantic stone arch fireplace with a huge chimney rising up along the wall that covers just about half of an entire wall of this common room, with a very, very large fire in it, and people smiling and laughing. Music is playing in there, and you notice that it is Flickering Flame, that Tabaxi bard that you had met down in Plurati. Flame, will you tell us what you look like, what they see?
Okay, so Flickering Flame goes by Flame. He is cat-like in appearance. He's a tabaxi. He's sort of light brown in color, and then darker brown for his, where normal human hair and beard would be, sort of his mane, I guess. And then a dark on his feet and his the tip of his tail. He has sort of entertainer's clothes, but sort of worn, like he's been, living on the street for a while. So, and he has a pack probably that he's not wearing right now, full of his bard stuff, trinkets, and his musical instruments.
I love it. He sounds awesome. Will you roll a performance check? So Adam is our newest to the game player. Not new to games at all. Really big into games, but 5th edition D&D, newest of the cast. So
it might take me a while to find what I'm supposed to do. Okay.
Are you rolling in Roll20 or are you rolling with dice?
I'm rolling in Roll20.
Okay, so all you should have to do is go to the ability skill list and click on the word performance. And what that's giving you is D20 roll plus your proficiency bonus and your charisma modifier.
So I got a 6. So.
Are you drinking?
Maybe.
Tell us
a little hair of the dog
about why Flame is not playing very well right now.
Well, Flame is a little bit hungover, and he's enjoying maybe a little morning after refreshment to sort of, cure his hangover symptoms. But yeah, he's a little bit foggy from the previous night's festivities.
What's he sound like? You want to play for us a little?
Sure. He's not playing very good, so
you guys walk into the tavern and you see that drunken tabaxi bard that you met in Plurati. He played way better in Plurati than this. But you do see him in the corner, and but roll a charisma check for me though anyway, Flame. Oh, hi, Cato. You guys, it's not going to matter how good any of us is. Cato is going to be the star of this live stream. No more nervous. It doesn't matter how any of us do.
Okay. Oh, hi. 18 I got for that, for charisma.
Okay, so in spite of the fact that you're playing like shit, you're actually so cool that it kind of doesn't matter, and there is a group of several people gathered around you. This town is mostly populated by humans, elves, and half-elves, but similar to Plurati, it's actually got kind of a large array. So around you right now, there's a bunch of mostly really young people, a few younger humans, and a couple of dwarves. One of them leans in, a younger dwarven lad, and he says, "Hi, where'd you learn to play the guitar?"
Please step back.
"Oh, I just wanted to know where he learned to play the guitar. Can I see it?" And he reaches out like he's gonna touch it.
Please step back. I need my space.
sorry, man. But like, I just want to know where you learned to play the guitar. What if if I ask you from back here?
Perhaps you could ask me when I'm not playing.
He gets a little puffed up. He's like, oh, so you're not here to serve the people that are in front of you? Huh?
I just turn away and try to ignore the dwarf.
Okay.
He's not getting the message.
He doesn't continue to persist. He sits down and he kind of sulks for a minute. You two kind of see this little bit of a confrontation or something like that as you walk into the tavern. But you also see a young human waitress making rounds amongst tables and stuff like that, and a young human bartender who she is also, kind of running up and down the bar. The place is really pretty busy right now. You can see along one side of the room are a couple of gaming tables. There's a place where someone is playing dice, a place where someone is handing out some, dealing some cards, and another one that's just darts, but people do seem to be playing for money.
Yeah, Finnick will kind of telescope in on Flame and be like, hey, nudge Wex. It's that guy.
Yeah, I don't know how he got here first. Didn't we leave him?
I thought so. And Finnick will just make his way over near the performance, just to, find a place to settle in there.
Okay. It's not super easy to find a seat. Like I said, it's pretty busy. So roll a perception check for what kind of a place to sit you find.
I'll throw down the assist if you want advantage.
Go for it. You can either both roll or you can roll with advantage.
Go ahead. Take advantage.
Take advantage.
Garbage. I'm really
19.
smart, but not perceptive.
Okay, with your 19, you scan the room and you see your best bet looks like it's a couple of empty spots at the end of one of the long tables. At the other end, there seem to be some rowdy, possibly a little bit dangerous looking folks, but they're all the way at the other end of the table. And everybody in between seems just like regular folks. So, that's
Right.
kind of looking to be your best bet. As you sit down, though, you do notice that the peasant woman who you sit down next to kind of like looks you up and down in like your finery and, stuff like that, and gives you sort of like a scoffing sort of a look. She says, I haven't done much with that armor, have you?
Yeah, Finnick will just kind of like telescope in on her face and just telescope out, kind of move to the other direction. Just like kind of look at her, and then he's just gonna watch Flame and like help make sure Wex gets a seat.
Okay. She's full of giggles. She glances at you periodically, but she doesn't obviously mean you any harm at all. Wex, are you going to just sit down, or are you going to do anything else?
I will start investigating everything that I possibly can near me, basically.
Near where?
Like wherever we went to sit. Like,
where? So you're going to
check
go
out the walls in that area and just look at the decor and stuff. eavesdrop on people. Just generally like checking things out, you know.
Okay. Flame, roll perception. Let's see if you notice these two dudes that you've met before.
Nine.
Not so much.
Yeah, no,
It's
you're
kind of
too
I would
busy
think you'd be
playing.
like,
No, you don't see him. You're too busy playing. But go ahead and do me another performance check. See if you've improved at all following your altercation with the frat boy dwarf.
okay, that's looking better. 18.
All right, so you pull yourself together and focus a little bit. You realize that, like, you know, you're gonna need to step it up a bit in terms of just like focus and awareness, and you start really bringing your best. The room begins to sort of hop and dance a little bit. What's it sound like now?
Yeah, and it's more rocking and less wrong notes and so forth.
Great.
But I think, yeah, I'll end that on a high note and take a break.
Okay. All right. So you finish a number and step down off the little raised dais in the corner where you were playing. You've got a sprinkling of change in the little bowl that you'd left out. You know, maybe like 15 silver and 4 gold. So the fact that there was any gold in there at all, it was kind of, you know, nice.
Yeah, Finnick sees him finishing up. Finnick would probably come up and drop a silver in the hat, like, "Hey, remember us?" And then just show him where we're
And I
sitting.
sort of squint at them, and then he says, "I thought I had the strangest dream where mechanical man visited me, but it was you. It was
Yep.
real."
Yeah, somehow we caught up to you. Not exactly sure. We've got a seat over here. If you're taking a break.
Yes. Let me grab a drink.
Okay, so you look around and you see that the waitress, the server who's working the tables is all the way across the room. Y'all are not terribly far from the bar, though. Are you going to wait for that waitress to come around or head up to the bartender?
I'll wait for the waitress to come back
Okay.
and then just sort of chat with these guys.
You sit down. A little while goes by. Anyone got anything to say?
Just trying to reconstruct the evening. I think.
Oh yeah, you remember now meeting these two. That night got pretty wild. You remember it was your last night in Plurati, and you do remember having woken up the next day in the corner in the common room still, feeling real bad, and that you ended up retiring into a room for the rest of the day, and leaving in the afternoon, instead of traveling with them. But yeah, by that time it had already seemed like it was a dream. What do you guys remember from that night?
I remember a dead Bard in the corner. Or at least we thought you were dead. But no one seemed to be doing anything. So sorry, we just kind of left on a bit of a time crunch.
Yeah, this all seems normal to me. I've grown up.
I don't recall. Why are you two headed to town?
And I'll just turn to Wex like, I don't think he remembers anything.
Yeah, it doesn't really seem like any of that landed at all. We had a whole conversation about traveling together and him putting the shit in the wagon. I don't know. It's weird.
Wow.
Is
Did
this
I put
typical
shit
for
in the
tall people?
wagon?
Wex, what did you say?
Is this typical for tall people?
Well, I can't speak for all tall people.
Well, you're
I
really
think
the
it's
only one I've talked to.
I think it's maybe typical for tall bards, more so. I remember most of the night.
If they have an instrument, they like to drink. That makes sense.
So she finally shows up at the table. Thank you for your patience. What can I get for you guys? It's the busiest it ever is here. Whew.
I'll have one dwarven ale, and also are the bears real?
The bears real?
Yeah,
I'm
your
confused. Did you see
festival bears.
bears?
Are they real or are they costume?
The what? The festival bears.
Yeah,
Did you see some bears?
I don't know. Am I going to?
It's the Bear Festival, isn't it?
Oh, this is your first time.
Are they real?
Sometimes
Or is
they're.
it like the fake dragon festivals?
You will see real bears.
I don't know if I want to.
Oh, you should. It's crazy at the bear festival. Every year something crazy happens.
That's not reassuring.
Oh, it's fine. It's just weird little stuff. It's not anything. Usually it's not anything too dangerous. But anyway, why'd you come? If you're not going to really get the experience. I assume
Well,
you traveled because we're not close to anything in Dwera.
I came with my friend.
Can
Oh,
I roll
yeah.
insight on that?
Can you roll insight on that?
Yeah.
You want to know?
Does she seem like she's telling the truth? Like, or does she seem like she's hiding
roll an
something?
insight.
Oh, I heard Brian's reaction before I see it. Yeah, no, I don't. It's 4.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, she seems totally legit.
Right on.
Who knows?
Where's my zone of truth?
Yeah, you're, kind of tanked, a little zapped, kind of tired. Hard to tell. You don't know anything about this place, so
No,
sure.
this Bear Festival sounds like a good time. Something interesting.
Yeah.
And as long as
Could
it's
be good, could be bad.
So, Kian, it being the day of the Bear Festival, how long have you been in town?
I got here a couple nights ago.
Hmm. And starting from the middle of the afternoon on the day of the festival, where do you think you'd be? Is it
Do I
raining
know-
really hard?
It looks like it's hail.
Yeah, it's pouring.
I can hear it. Oh, wow. It's intense outside. We're having a big storm, y'all.
Okay, don't lose power.
I hope not. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for hanging with us, anyone who's watching on YouTube. Okay. So, Kian, where do you think you'd be?
Yeah, do I know, is the festival just like this one night, or is it like...
It is. It's just one ceremony. And it's really that you would know this as a druid and your reason for coming here and everything. Oh, nice drinking horn, may I say. Show that for a second. Show that off a little. Ooh, that's sweet.
A real horn. Don't ask me what kind of animal, I don't know.
So it is the bear ceremony, technically not a festival, although the people who do come to it have sort of made a festival atmosphere out of it. The marketplace bustles and everything, but really it's a ceremony.
Mhm.
And so what did you ask about the bear ceremony?
Oh, just how long it was.
Oh yeah, that it's just the one night.
Knowing that it'll be over after tonight, I would probably make my way to the marketplace and try to find some supplies for my journey home afterwards.
Okay. All right. All right. So during the day, though, I will say before you head to the marketplace, during the preparation phases of the event, you do spend some time up on top of the hill with the other druidim in your kind of observation role. So will you tell us a little bit about what you look like?
For sure. Kian is short for an elf, a pretty rough-looking wood elf who looks as much woods as elf, honestly. He's got like twigs and leaves sticking out of tangled black hair. Olivey skin that shows some signs of aging, and his clothes also look quite worn. He's wearing hide boots and a leather and hide kind of mismatched outfit that looks pretty handcrafted. And he's got a quarterstaff that he kind of leans on as he walks around. And like wise, curious eyes. Yeah. Ian.
Okay.
Got a little bit of a mane going on.
And then Kian and Feely, I'll have both of you two roll perception checks. I really thought you just popped a die in your mouth. That was kind of awesome. I was a fan of that happening. For sure.
Be threatening.
Okay.
Just spit it back out.
Yeah. If you're rolling anything lower than 15 that way, it's like just devastating.
The saliva gives it like extra power.
Hey, it's 620,
I did roll
right?
a 23.
I just missed 620, which means it's 420 somewhere in the ocean. If anybody wants to smoke with me.
I rolled a 4 on my perception.
Very nice. Not nice. That was not good. Nope. Kian, how'd you do?
3.
All right. Nice. You two don't notice each other at all on the top of the hill. You spend actually several hours in the same place. Kian, you also witness the druidim creating the container and doing their, shapes of stones and stuff like that. You actually participate in some of the clearing of the ground, all the like sticks and extra stones that they don't want in the ceremony, the erecting of the poles and the draping of the fabrics, and you see this beautiful spell work that is done. But you're so focused on your task that you never do notice Feely, this Eladrin who's walking around bothering the other druids.
If a 23 didn't get it, I don't know what would have.
Oh, wait. Oh, God. Sorry. I thought you said you got a 3.
No, 23.
Oh, my God. No. You're quite focused, but you also do notice Feely. And you keep kind of an eye on them. You, in fact, with the 23, you notice that Feely is sort of not being really appropriate for the space at first. And then you see them kind of get reprimanded. And then you watch them become more sensitive to the situation and kind of hang back. But what you notice more than anything is that they're just intensely curious about the situation. And you might feel like that resonates with you to some extent.
I think like during the ceremony, I would definitely be focused on that, but I might like file a note that after this is over, I want to catch up with them and figure out what their deal is.
Cool. So during the following the preparations, Feely and Kian, both of you, there's a little bit of time before the actual ceremony starts. So Kian, you said that you were going to head down and go into the trading post and look for some supplies for your journey home after. And Feely, what are you doing following the preparatory phase? Go and in the break before it gets dark and the actual bear ceremony starts.
Yeah, I think if it looks clear that nothing else is going on, Feely would take this opportunity to go get food, probably. They've probably forgotten that they need to eat like all day long.
Okay. Kian, heading down the hill, that spiral path, you feel very grounded and centered following all that preparatory work and being present for that real strong, cohesive, collaborative druidic magic. You've worked, with your own circle and have, known of a few, you've seen a few other circles work together over the years. But this is a unique situation with druids of all different circles and from different places coming together and doing ritual together. It was really a very interesting and beautiful thing to witness. So walking down, you might be feeling a sense of harmony and excitement heading down into the village. Keeping that 23 going, I will say that as you head down into the village, you see a lovely young tiefling girl leave out of the apothecary, carrying some stuff, and she then, heads along the square, and you pass her on the way to your destination at the trading post. Would you say anything, or do you think you wouldn't? It's not super usual to see a tiefling in these parts. The only other one around is the one in the apothecary.
I would start by like nodding politely and see if I'm acknowledged.
Okay. Epiphany, as you leave the apothecary, you step out and you watch one of the druids coming down off the hill after they've apparently got the ceremony set up or something. One of those druids, shorter elf, looks at you, catches your eye, kind of gives a friendly nod.
Epiphany says, "Oh, hi! I really like your hair sticks. Those are really nice."
Oh, yeah, these, thanks.
Yeah, it's a good look for you. Where are you going?
Probably just headed to the market. Gotta pick up some food for my my pony and
I love ponies.
What was that?
I love ponies.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to go to the market. Will you show me where it is?
Oh yeah, certainly. Found it yesterday, so I can take you there.
Thank you. I'm Epiphany.
Oh, yeah, sorry, where are my manners? My name's Kian.
Hi, Kian.
Nice to meet you, Epiphany.
You too. And she gives him a big, toothy tiefling grin.
Her teeth are very sharp. Roll a charisma check, Epiphany. Let's see how you're landing. And Kian, roll a wisdom check. Oh no, roll an insight check. Okay. What, Epiphany?
20.
Nice. We've had 2 of those now in the game so far, and it's been less than an hour and a half. This is fantastic.
Much charisma.
What you got, Kian, for an insight?
16.
Okay, so it is, her smile is dazzling. Her teeth are quite sharp, but you have absolutely no question as to what her intentions are. You can see in this beautiful, sharp-toothed, dazzling, terrifying smile that this is actually one of the sweetest people that you could possibly ever meet in your life, tiefling or no. And I don't know if you've met ever a tiefling, but you would be aware, as most folk are, of a sort of an underlying anti-tiefling sentiment that tends to sort of exist and hover ambiently in the realm, even though it isn't actually legal. It's actually illegal to discriminate against anybody based on their race. Unfortunately, throughout the realm, you are aware that that's not something that necessarily gets held to by people in the way that they treat each other. So I don't know how.
Do I notice people making looks that I don't normally get?
Roll a perception check as you two are walking toward the trading post. It is pretty busy in the square. You're crossing the square, and there's lots of residents of Dwera and travelers from other places. Are we drawing looks?
14.
In fact, what you notice is that no, there is no weird energy toward the two of you. As you're walking toward the trading post. In fact, you've never experienced in any humanoid settlement of a village, city, or anything, you've actually never not gotten weird looks. You've never not gotten weird looks. And now here you are walking with a tiefling, and the two of you are not getting weird looks. And then as you look around, really everyone is pretty unusual looking. It's one of the things about town is that you can see that there are druids who are here from the surrounding wilderness, and that there are travelers, and that some have come from far away and their outfits are different or whatever. But also the residents of Dwera, they all dress differently from each other. There doesn't seem to be any sort of coherent fashion. Everyone's wearing their hair differently. Everybody seems to be really expressing themselves. And really, because I rolled a nat 20 on what the vibe of the town was, I will also tell you that you can almost feel that sense of what you would understand about the Feywild, sort of almost bleeding through the Mirhal into the culture of Dwera, where it's strange. It feels a little extra magical, maybe, or something, a little extra spooky. The people feel a little bit extra unique, and yeah, everything's just a little bit extra, even though it's misty. So that's what you notice as you head toward the trading post. You get inside there, and it is a bustling flea market. There are booths, tables, people with stuff on blankets. It is all different kinds of vendors. It seems like there is so much going on. There are just aisles with booth after booth, vendor after vendor. Some people are selling foodstuffs, some people clothing type wares. There's an entire corner that seems to be all weapons and armament. And there's even a forge over there where there's a permanent, what's the word? Oh my God, whatever. Anyway, a permanent smith who is there.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a forge. There's a installation. That's the word. There's a permanent installation of a person, forging weaponry and armor there. And there's, looking around, it seems like there's quite an array of things that you could get here. What are you two looking for?
Epiphany promised her cousin that she would bring her back something really cool from her big fancy adventure. So probably something cool for her little cousin.
Okay. So I'm looking around, just sort of tagging along with Kian as he looks around for his, what things that he needs. You've just got your eye out along to different booths and blankets and tables just to see if anything pops out. What's your cousin's name?
Her name is Lexi.
Lexi?
Yeah. Little Lexi. And Epiphany is really happy to be here. She's like kind of got a good hop in her step, and she's just smiling and looking around and really just at ease.
And how old is Lexi?
Lexi's 12.
All right. And Kian, what are you going to be looking for?
So Kian's main intention is to find non-perishable food for both him and his pony, but he is not enjoying the crowd and is very much glued to Epiphany as much as he feels like she's comfortable with that.
Epiphany is probably totally fine with that. She's just like, she makes friends super easily when she can, when they let her.
All right, so you two move through the market kind of arm in arm, almost like holding closer and closer to each other, just doing that like 5th grade, I found like the person that I'm going to go through this day with. And, that. And looking around, Kian, go ahead and make a wisdom saving throw and see how well you're handling this crowd.
Um, 21.
Okay. With the presence of such a sweet companion next to you, and the fact that everything just seems to be sort of like looking up and going easily, it actually, you're able to sort of put yourself together emotionally and really focus. Yeah, it's not so bad, and everyone's being really nice to each other. And as you look around at the crowd, you notice that like people are sort of, standing out of the way so that each other can get by, and being very gracious and kind and happy in their interactions. So it becomes a little bit easier to navigate through the crowd. What would you like to buy?
Do we want to start with Kian or Epiphany?
Kian.
I am looking for rations for myself and any sort of maybe like straw or hay that I feel like my pony might enjoy. I don't know Korean stuff, so please correct me.
Oh, no, that's all right. You had actually identified the location of where to get your horse feed already, and it's kind of over at the other corner opposite from the smith. And so on your way there, you kind of just have your eyes peeled for foodstuffs. You do notice that it seems like up ahead, sort of near to the area where they have the bales of hay and the bags of grain, you see that there also seems to be a booth where they're selling road type provisions, packaged food, dried, preserved foods, nothing in glass, etc. Things wrapped in paper, but as you're making your way there, Epiphany, you feel a tug on your cloak, and as you look, you see that there's a little boy, such a tiny little boy, that you think maybe he must be a halfling boy. He's just super little, and he's popped out from underneath the counter at one of the vendors. You look over, and it's a counter that is draped with finery, jewelry, velvet and lace, beautiful fabrics, articles of clothing sewn from the fabrics. There's a whole rack of really, really ornate hats, and jewelry, most of which is extremely like gaudy. Really large pieces, like a ring that has like a giant gold cage on it with like a pretend bird inside. Just like strange stuff. Um, and as I'm almost just as quick as he popped out, the little boy's head disappears back inside the curtains.
Oh, hello. Oh, did you see him? Did you see the little boy? Wow, look at this stuff. Lexi would love that bird thing for a horn charm. I have to go talk to these people.
Oh, Kian, I think you might be muted. I don't know. No.
You hear me now?
Oh, there you are.
All right, let's go check it out, Epiphany.
You turn and the little guy pops back up, holding on to kind of the side of the pant leg of a fully grown adult halfling. He's standing there in a very dapper little suit. He's got a measuring tape and a set of shears, and he seems to be cutting a bolt of cloth on a table behind the counter. The little tiny one, so tiny, mop of dark curly hair, gigantic watery brown eyes, tugs on the pant leg of the adult and points at you. And he looks up. Oh, hi. Hello. Travelers, are you?
Can you tell me about that ring with the bird?
It's quite fine. It comes from far south.
Far south. That sounds perfect for my cousin Lexi.
It's only 5 silver.
Perfect. She'd love to wear that on her horn. I promised I'd get her a present for my trip.
Yeah, these are all the rage down in Ordiver. Have you been to Ordiver?
No.
It's absolutely astounding, Les. You should try it sometime. It's just one of the craziest places. It's like Trambly, but more wholesome.
Oh. Well, this seems pretty wholesome to me. People here are really nice.
Hi. It's very strange, isn't it? Because it seems so dark and gloomy and murky, but everyone's so nice.
Yeah, it's really good to be here, and I'm already making friends, including you. What's your name?
Oh, I'm Georgie.
Hi, Georgie. I'm Epiphany.
It's good to meet you, Epiphany. This is Alistair.
Hi, Alistair. Epiphany gets out her coins and hands them, and happily.
Hi, Epiphany. Hi, Epiphany.
Close enough.
Epiphany. Hi, Epiphany. Yeah. Horns. Epiphany. Isla. She has horns. Aren't they pretty? Hi.
Aw. It's okay, Alistair. It's okay. We can be friends too.
And he stretches up and you can see he wants to touch.
Epiphany leans over. There you go, little friend.
He touches him and squeals. He giggles and he runs behind his dad. You guys play this a couple of times, and he is really the cutest thing in the whole wide world, giggling. And by the time you leave, there's no discomfort at all. Kian, you make your way to where they're selling the rations, and you have no trouble purchasing everything that you need, both for your horse and for yourself. And as we come to our break time for the stream, I will say that night is falling, and it is growing to be the time for the bear ceremony. So as the sunlight, such as it is, begins to disappear and the murk deepens around Dwera, the energy of the town almost seems to heighten even more inside the tavern, inside the marketplace, out in the square. People are starting to pulse with excitement. And as darkness falls, the folk of the town and the travelers from all around and the druidim from the wilderness begin to move up the spiraling pathway, up the circular hill, and toward the center for the bear ceremony. And we will be back at 7 o'clock Pacific time to continue chapter 1. If everybody wants to just mute and turn off your cameras. And we're back. Welcome to the second act of episode 1. Just a quick recap. Our travelers are in Dwera. This is the mist-enshrouded village on the edge of the Mirhall, which is a shifting landscape between the material plane and the Feywild on the Shadowfell. We're here in preparation of the bear ceremony that happens once a year. Our travelers, having passed a pleasant day, interesting, educational, and enlightening day around and about the village, have learned some of the interesting things that have happened in previous years in the bear ceremony. For example, sitting next to you in the tavern, Wex and Finnick, the lady who had previously made fun of Finnick's armor, turns and she says, "The bears are real. In fact, one year they came into town and hung out here for like a week. Didn't leave. They were just around, bears, by the trash, outside your door. Sometimes you couldn't go out to the fields because bears. And then like after about a week, they just went back into the woods. Weird things happen after the bear ceremony.
That gold nudge Wex. They're real. And then he'll ask the drunk lady, is that why everything's so reinforced around here?
Wait, oh, no, that's just because, you know, it's the wilderness out there. We got attacked by a hill giant one year. If it hadn't been for that poor monk that burned up and left the fire in the middle of the hill there, I mean, druid. Anyway, one year, one of the ones who does the druids, right? Druids? Yeah. Anyway, one year, one of them caught on fire and then just turned into that fire in the middle. And if it hadn't been for him, we probably would have gotten taken out by that hill giant because the fire was what saved us. Pretty sure. You heard about that, right? Anyway.
No, I'm afraid we're new in town. Tourists, if you will. You said people catch on fire.
You're a tourist? You should buy me a drink.
I don't think that's how this works.
Don't you have some money?
Gave it all to the bard.
Oh. He's not very good. Oh, hi! You're not very good. I'm sorry. What can I say?
Well, we all have our off days and our on days.
Well, ain't that the truth?
Well, I'll buy you a drink.
You will?
The human's money, of course.
Great. The human's funny. That's cute. That's funny. I like your. Can I touch your whiskers? You bat her head.
I would prefer that you not.
But you're buying me a drink, though, right?
Sure.
Okay, good. All right. That's fine. I don't have to touch your whiskers then. But they look cool.
Every year something weird happens to this town because of this ceremony, like why do you keep having it?
Oh, well, usually it's like something cool. Or, I mean, the only time anyone really got hurt was that druid that burned up. But we all just figured he must have done it on purpose.
Well, I like playing cards, I get it.
Yeah. I don't know what you mean by that, but I agree wholeheartedly, small blue-haired guy. You two with your goggles. What is up with you two anyway?
It's to protect my most sensitive organs.
Oh, well, I can understand that. Here's to that. She holds out for a cheers.
I'm completely baffled by this.
Uh,
I go to like take it out of her hand, like,
Here.
Thank you.
No. Man, you people are weird. I thought we were weird. She keeps drinking. She's like, oh, I think it's time to go. Gets up. Begins
Go
to
where?
To the bear ceremony. It's getting dark out. Everyone's going. Let's go.
All right.
Guess that's our cue. The Pinnacle follower.
Yeah, flame follows.
At a distance.
Uh-huh.
I've asked a lot of questions and they've given me a lot of answers that aren't very settling.
It sounds
I don't
like
think
it
this lady
will be
gives.
very interesting, if nothing else.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this lady doesn't give any settling answers. So just go see a druid catch on fire or a bear or something.
Hey, your armor's stupid. Oh, by the way, somebody lit themselves on fire to kill a giant. What the fuck?
I didn't make any sense of that either.
Are you heading up with them or are you stopped, Wex?
I am reluctantly and in the back.
In the back, reluctantly, protesting.
Curiosity is winning.
Okay. Feely, where would you have spent your downtime? Where did you say?
I said I was going to get food. So wherever in town I would know to have the best food.
Right. So there's really just the one place to buy food. Other than, I mean, you can go in the marketplace and there are vendors that have, you know, ingredients for food and sometimes things that they've, you know, like the packaged foods for the road and stuff like that. But really like the food eating place is the inn.
And been there. I am not preparing my own food, nor am I eating prepackaged to-go food. So to the inn.
Right. Okay. So heading into the inn, it's very bustling. This is before everyone takes off for the bear ceremony. The inn is bustling. There isn't music playing, but you can see that there is a musician in the corner holding a guitar. You're able to order food kind of at the last second. The bartender behind the bar just looks at you and you've been in town, right, the whole time? You've been in town for a week? Yeah, so you know each other. This is Marion, and she works the bar most of the time. She recognizes you. She says, Feely, do you want the we've got a really nice stew today. Would you like to try it?
course, it sounds fantastic.
Are you going to have the wine as usual, or would you like to try something else?
Always, your wine's the best part of here.
I love it when you talk, Feely. She walks away, pours your wine, brings it over, leaves the bottle. She says, I'm so busy, you should just help yourself, probably, but just let me know how many you've had, okay? I trust you. And I'll be back with your stew shortly, okay?
Appreciate the trust and the kindness.
Oh, of course. Well, I mean, it's you. Anyway, yes, I'll just be over there if you need anything, but I'll be by with your bowl of stew shortly. And she walks away and kind of like glances over her shoulder at you a couple of times and like kind of blushes a little bit and helps other people. She comes back after a little bit with stew, just as people are starting to shift and move. While you're waiting for your stew, would you like to do a perception check?
Yeah. 8.
Okay, so you just chill, look around. You don't really notice anything in particular. The stew comes really fast, and she says, "You'll want to eat that up quickly. It's almost time."
I've been waiting all week for this, so yeah, dig right in. I've had 2 glasses of the wine, by the way. So I'll pay for that happily.
Thank you. I guess we'll settle up now, then it'll only be 2 silver for you.
Wonderful. And I would like to point out, it is true, Feely has only had 2 glasses of wine, is not shorting anyone, like, is not dumb enough to think that they could get away with that kind of, like.
Sure. And will you be staying here another night? Feely?
I suppose it depends on what happens with the bear ceremony, but probably.
Okay. Well, we'll settle up for that then tomorrow, depending on whether you've stayed or not.
Sounds great, love.
We'll see you up there. The stew is, as usual, unbelievable. It's pumpkin, white beans, and chicken, and it's just really like palate melting. Destroys. It's so good. The Last Hearth is well known for its food by anybody that's ever been to Dwera. The food is mind-blowing. Some of the best food that you can get at an inn in the realm. So, similar scene in the marketplace. The crowd begins to kind of bustle up and rustle up and gather itself and move toward the exit and flow toward the hill. And as one body, almost like a flock of birds or a school of fish, the townsfolk and the travelers and the druidim all file up the hill. There are several druids in front, carrying lanterns and candles at the head of the line, and you watch them, their lights circling and taking places around the circle, close to the fire and further out near the piles of stones. Amazingly, upon reaching the top of the hill, it is incredible, but it's almost as if the space somehow has expanded, because all these people, everyone in town, and all these people that have come from miles around, and the druids from the forest to the east and the west, have all come to the top of this hill where they definitely would not fit, and they totally fit. Everyone is gathered and comfortably, and you can see each other in the light of the lanterns and the great fire in the center. You find yourself meeting eyes with strangers across the circle, finding the eyes of druids who are partially involved in crafting their druidic spells. As you find your places in this circle and this gathering, you feel almost imbued with a sense of divine energy. There's a holiness and a warmth to this place that has taken over everyone. Every set of eyes you meet are lit up with it. You see the fascination and the wonder, the joy, the honoring of the experience that is taking place all around you. As you're taking it all in, one druid from the center of the circle begins to intone. Mother Bear, we have come. Thank you. You have shown yourself to us. 1 week ago today, you come from the cave to tell us how you kept us safe, and it is now spring. And we, your children, issue forth to greet you and to thank you, to honor you with our homage. As she raises her arms, her body begins to glow. And another druid steps into the center and begins to intone. Mother Bear, we wish to thank you for your acceptance of a child this year. We have brought you Astara. And at this moment, from the crowd steps forth two human men and a young girl in between them. Both the men's eyes brim with tears and with pride as, holding this young girl's hand, they walk forward. At the edge of the circle of stone shapes, they stop, and she continues to walk forward towards the two druids that are in the center. The second one, who had begun speaking, wise, old, stooped man with a bear skin draped over his whole body, standing, leaning heavily upon a cane. She approaches and he says, "Are you ready, child?" And at this moment, next to you, Finnick and Wexlarn, is still the woman from the tavern. She looks over and she says, "There isn't always a child, but a star has been showing signs for a while."
What?
Magic. If you have a magic kid, they gotta go somewhere to learn. So the druids take them.
Take them where? They don't mean to set this child on fire, do they?
Yeah, what do you mean by take?
What are you getting from all this? No, they take them to be a druid in the woods.
That sounds way more comforting.
Way more what?
That sounds way more comforting.
Yeah, God. You see, she's brought a drinking horn with her, and she takes a swig off of it. She looks at you. She says, "No, but they do have to go through a thing. They do have to. The child has to spend a night with the bears in the woods. They gotta go in front of the bear cave, and if they live through the night, then they go be a druid. Anyway."
How often is this successful?
Oh, usually. So the ceremony continues as this old man druid says, "Are you ready, child?" He's got a remarkably powerful, though deeply airy voice. It almost sounds like the wind through the trees of the forest when it's stormy, where there's high notes of swooshing, but there's also a whoosh to it. She looks at him with big round eyes and she says, "I'm ready." I've been ready for a long time. Behind her, one of her dads sniffs deeply, and you hear a choked sob, and the other one reaches his arm around him to comfort him. The old man druid looks up at them and he says, "She'll be just fine. I can always tell." He holds out his hand to her, and she steps forward and just stands with them. One after another, 8 of these druids step forth and make a proclamation to Mother Bear, a proclamation of gratitude and thankfulness for her protection and for the abundance of the coming harvest. And each one, as they do, their body begins to glow until all 8 of them are lit up, glowing gold. Astara is brought to a place near the center fire and asked to sit. There's a blanket laid for her on the ground, and she sits down. And the druids begin to dance. They dance in a circle around the fire as drums begin. And there are 4 druids sitting at different points of the outside of the circle, drumming on different hoops with skins. And in the center, these 8 glowing druidum break into a wild but in unison dance, their limbs thrashing around as they spin in circles and leaps, doing triple axels and exquisite movements that you wouldn't think possible from the old man with the cane, for one, the very strong elk woman for another, and yet somehow their bodies all seem perfectly tuned and graceful, doing these exquisite dance moves. Soon after the unison dancing has reached a feverish pitch, they all stand tall, and each one of them transforms into a bear. All 8 of them become bears. Their bodies grow and thicken and grow thick hair, and their mouths open with a collective roar. You guys look around, and nobody around you seems to be freaking out. These bears, after standing in their collective roar, they turn around to face the crowd, and they fall forward onto all 4s, and then they move into a bear dance. And all of them moving and weaving around each other, all 8 of them, different kinds and sizes of bears, moving around and through. Astara watching with her big wide eyes, her red hair pulled back in a little green band, wearing her little brown backpack that she is taking with her for, the rest of her life. Sitting on the blanket and just looking completely composed and brave as these bears dance around her. You can hear guttural grunts and also vocalizations of these bears. And soon the fire at the center begins to climb and grow until it is this shimmering spire of blue flame. The whole crowd is overtaken in something like a rapture. The drums continue and everyone is swaying and dancing with the beat and with the bears. You almost can't help yourselves as your bodies begin to move of their own accord, swaying with these drums and with the sound and the lights. The shadows of the bears moving in between you and the fire is incredibly hypnotic, and the fire growing and shifting into this cooler color. And as the music mounts and the dancing of the crowd begins to come more into unison, and you can hear people singing wordless music and druidic chanting throughout the circle, there is suddenly a sound, feeling something from the fire. A circle explodes outwards across all of you. a shimmering circle of light passes straight through all of your bodies, all the way out to the outside edge of the container where it seems to collide, and then suddenly shrinks back down. And the fire goes out. Looking,
I feel like your Epiphany clapping.
Epiphany's clap and voice rings out in dead silence. The mists shroud any moon or stars that there could be. Who has dark vision?
I have dark vision.
All right. Finnick, you are plunged into complete darkness. When the fire goes out, the rest of the torches seem to go out. Hard to tell what's happening. You do hear Epiphany, though, clap and sing out. Oh, beautiful it is. But it's just you can barely see a couple of shadowy shapes around you. But because everything is so misty, there's not really any moonlight or starlight to help you out. Looks like everybody else has dark vision. So looking around, you see that the fire is not there anymore. Actually, nothing is there. This hill is bare. All that remains, looking around, is the 6 of you and Astara.
I'm gonna cast Produce Flame. It's just a cantrip that gives me like 10 feet of bright light and 10 feet of dim light, and see if that stays lit.
Okay, so it's like a torch?
Yeah, basically my hand is a torch, yeah.
Okay. Ian holds out his elven hand. More wood than elf. As much wood as elf. And poof, a little flame appears in it. What color is your flame, Kian? Just normal flame?
Yes.
Okay. A cheerful, sort of a warm light pervades from Kian. And you can all see him lit up well. And the hill seems to be the regular size that it actually was now, which means that it's really only about 20 feet approximately across the top of the hill, the hilltop, 20, 30 feet maybe. And then it slopes quite steeply down. And everyone who wants to can roll perception.
Finnick will look around very confused. The light just appeared.
I would know Finnick doesn't have dark vision, so when the lights go out, I'll also just grab the back of Finnick's backpack and use my magical tinkering to set it aglow, so it casts bright light for 5 feet and dim light for 5 feet, just so he can see, because I know he can't.
Oh, okay. What does that look like from you? Is it something that you like? Do you have like a dust that you sprinkle on, or like something you have?
I would pull out my my thieves' tools and use them to just trace an image, basically on the back of his backpack. It's just a circle with a lot of lines coming out of it, and then it just
A little
bursts
happy
into light,
sunshine.
basically.
All right.
For my perception
But-
roll.
I don't people might not have seen it if they weren't, looking, because I kind of did it on his back.
All right. What did you get on your perception roll, Epiphany?
21. And Epiphany probably says something like, well, that was very unexpected.
Okay.
Is this normal?
Yeah, I got a 22 on perception. Once I had light.
Yeah, so the light shines from your backpack and suddenly you can see pretty well all around, and most of the hilltop now is well lit. It is, however, empty as heck. In response to Kian's, is this normal? Astara looks at you, Kian, and just shakes her head. She says, I've been to the bear ceremony every year. It's never done this before.
You've probably been less than like 100 years, given how old you are.
I'm 11.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Are you more than 100?
Yeah, for sure.
Have you ever seen anything like this happen before?
Me not personally. Are any of you others from around here? Have you seen this before?
Certainly not.
New.
First time here, I'm afraid.
You do.
Flame, what is it that's got you fascinated? Why have you only rolled a 4 on your perception? What are you obsessed with at the moment that you're not perceiving much?
Probably some mode of dust or some grass. I don't know.
Right. Well, definitely the hill has changed. You know, it was a very well-traveled, walked on, looked like, big, well-worn path around the fire. There was a whole stone thing with a fire in the middle. All of it's gone, and now it's just a grassy hill. The 22 and the 21 we had in perception, and the 16. So that's going to be Wex and Epiphany and Finnick. Did anyone else go over 15 on that perception? Okay. So Wex, Epiphany, and Finnick. Each of you peering out into the darkness past this hilltop. You look and you can see sparkling shimmers in the landscape out there. You can see what little light there is reflecting off of the path of a winding stream through a strange landscape. You can see the outlines of oddly shaped trees, and everything seems to have a slight shimmer.
Finnick will be pulling out his maps and his cartography tools at this point and trying to match. Does any of this match what was there before? This is all.
Roll check with your cartographer's tools.
And what attribute should I use for that? Wisdom?
That would be, I think, is it a wisdom? Intelligence? I think cartographer's tools?
It asks me.
Depends.
What do you have better, intelligence or wisdom?
Wisdom.
Go wisdom. I decree. Because I get
14.
Okay. With a 14 with your cartographer's tools, you see that the landscape, that the hill itself is, exactly where it was, and the landscape around seems like it could be the similar landscape, but there wasn't definitely not a stream there a moment ago. One thing though is that your configuration is picking up some kind of a strange anomaly surrounding the hill itself, where it seems like some kind of a barrier or a membrane of some kind around the hill.
Epiphany says, so it was quite a show, but do you suppose that they've gone or we've gone?
I was wondering exactly the same thing. Are they all dead or are we dead? Somebody died.
Why are we assuming someone's dead here?
Yeah, I don't think we're dead.
I don't feel dead.
But I do think it would probably be easier to make the 7 of us go rather than all however many. So that feels like a safer bet.
That definitely makes sense.
Are there still a bunch of like stones on the ground, like in their patterns? Those are gone. Okay.
Is the like bonfire wood kind of stuff still there?
On. It's just a bare, grassy hill.
And all of the lights that were in the buildings of the town are all out and everything.
Can we see the town? Is the town perceptible at all?
You don't. You do not see a town. You see a sparkling shimmer outside beyond the hill. And it seems like, weirdly, like the hill is bare, but you can see stuff, wood, forest, whatever. You can see stuff beyond the hill. The hill itself seems oddly bare.
Are you okay, child?
Yeah, I'm not. This isn't what's supposed to be happening, but
What is supposed to be happening?
I'm supposed to be going with the druids, and then I'm supposed to spend a night in front of the bear cave. And if the bears don't kill me, then I become a druid.
Well, that's fair.
I
Where
start my druid training.
should we take you to the bear cave then?
I guess if you know where it is.
I certainly don't know where it is, but I'm absolutely going to help you.
Thank you. The druids were supposed to help me. Are any of you the druids?
Definitely.
Well, I'm new here, but I am part of a circle, if that is of any help to you.
That is very comforting. Maybe you can help show me a couple of things, because my magic is getting a little bit out of control sometimes.
A horse?
So if it takes a long time to find the bear cave, maybe you can help me figure that out.
Yes. I was hoping you knew where the bear cave was, but if you didn't, maybe we can just go in a general direction. And in the meantime, I'll certainly be happy to help you in any way I can. And I'm sure these people are also in favor of your best interest.
The last time they took a kid, they took 2 actually a couple of years ago, and they went north.
North. That's a good lead.
Finnick will take out his configuration and like the map he has of the area and just talk to the kid. As a member of the Cartography Guild, I am obliged to help you find your way. And he'll pull out the maps and just show her, do you happen to recognize any of this or where we might be?
That's where my village is. And that's the mural. And I guess, so we're right here, and I guess north would be into the mural.
Well,
the mural.
Mural it is.
The mural is the misty place where sometimes people go in and they don't come out. and where they only the very specially trained know how to get around. But nothing looks the same around here right now anyway, though. But
I think I was lost in the mural, and it gave me the worst stomach ache.
you got lost in the mural?
I think so. I don't know. It was misty and it was weird. And then I ended up in Dwera with the worst stomach ache.
Finnick will notice that immediately. Like, you've been to the mural. Where did you enter the mural?
Well, just outside of my town, my village. I was just walking. It was a very, very long walk. And then I just ended up in this very misty and weird place. And I just kept walking and had the worst stomach ache. And then I was in Dwera, and I don't know how long I was in there, but it felt like a really long time. And my hair was longer when I came out, so I feel like it was a very long time.
Finnick, roll an intelligence check for me with proficiency. Add your proficiency.
So 18.
Okay. I'm going to tell you a thing.
And while you're doing that, Finnick will show everyone his configuration, whether or not they can make sense of it. It looks like a compass with clocks and things all over it. And it's just going wild right now. But he'll say, wherever we are, it's almost like the flip side of where we were. And it might have something to do with the mural. And this hill we're in is surrounded by some sort of membrane, the planar membrane. I'm not sure how it connects us, but we didn't exactly leave where we were.
I really hope we aren't on the flip side of the mural. I don't exactly want to be going back there right now.
You also came from the mural?
No.
Lots happening right now, and I'm not sure what's going on, but is the mural really a place to be taking someone under 50?
Well, I'm only 37, and I can tell you it's not a place that I found to be very comforting, and just the worst stomach aches.
Basically, that's where we were heading.
I know it's going to be scary. It was going to be scary anyway. I was possibly going to die tonight. I want to go face whatever my destiny is, and I need to go to the bear cave and find the druids and get my training.
That's the spirit, child.
Thank you.
Strange one with the goggles. Hello.
Well, which one of us do you mean?
The taller one. I'd love to see your little contraption.
Yeah, certainly. It's wrapped around his, he keeps it wrapped around his wrist, but just kind of hanging from it when he holds it. But he'll show it to you.
And looking at it, does any of it make sense to me, or is it still just like crazy weird?
Roll a history check.
I think Flame would definitely want to look at that too. He's kind of like crowding in there, like trying to like check it out.
Got a 13.
No, you have not seen anything like this before. You notice that some of it looks a little bit like a compass. You have seen a compass, but you haven't seen anything like this before. You also notice, though, that there is that like behind one of the faces you do see a set of gears that you associate with a planar device that you recognize from home. Okay, so what are y'all gonna do? Star is getting a little antsy.
I want to go to where the middle of the fire would have been and dig a small hole and plant the walking staff I have with me in the middle of it, and then also imbue that with light so we know where to go back to at the end.
Astara watches you do this. That's very smart. You guys are very comforting. Thank you. I'm glad I'm here.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Someone. What did you say, Epiphany?
Epiphany just really wants to make sure that this little girl is okay. So she's trying to be very comforting to her and like patting her shoulder, but not wanting to be like too forward about it. She's like, it's gonna be okay. We're gonna help you. I'm just an apprentice, but I'm learning to be an investigator, and I feel like my skills just might come in handy.
Oh, an investigator. That sounds very interesting indeed.
It's definitely pretty interesting. But I'm just an apprentice, but I do have a backpack full of tools.
Can I ask you, are you a tiefling?
Yeah.
I've heard of a tiefling before, but I've never met one.
Oh, well, all the tieflings in my village are very nice, despite what you may have heard.
It's really nice to meet you.
It's really nice to meet you too.
I didn't hear anything bad about your village.
Oh, good.
Okay. Can we go soon? I'm a little scared.
Oh, yeah, I'm ready.
Are you hungry, child?
All right, who's going first?
I'll take it.
I love how we have a whole group full of I don't go first.
Yeah,
That's adorable.
everybody's squishy.
Finnick will be making a map, like just everything he can see, he's already drawing it out, just trying to keep an idea of where we're at.
Okay.
Yeah. Kian will go first, but first he wants to make sure that Epiphany is going to hold the hand of Astara and make sure that she is okay. Which
Okay, I'll keep her safe.
Thank you.
Flame has become fixated on Finnick's device, and so he's kind of following Finnick, and he's paying attention to what's going on, but his eyes keep returning to that device, kind of following his arm movements.
Okay. All right, Kian, as you come to the edge of the top of the hill and begin down the path, you break through this darkness and into a landscape of golden, hazy gloaming. It looks like that hour just before the sun sets, but you can't really see the sun anywhere. Everything shimmers with a slight glint as if edged in gold. It is beautiful. There are strange flowers, big flowers, huge trees, giant weird mushrooms and puffballs. It is so pretty. Roll an insight check, please, Kian. What?
10.
It is so beautiful, and you've noticed that the stream that's running through it seems almost too perfect. It's sparkling with almost an otherworldly glow. Your companions file out behind you, and Feely, as you come out of this planar membrane into the Twilight Kingdom. You know, with a sudden sinking feeling in the pit of your chest, that you are in the Feywild.
And right then, Esther, do you really think that the bear cave is this direction? Because really, truly, this isn't your home.
What do you mean? It isn't, is it? She comes out right behind you as she says, what do you mean? She like, look, oh, comes out through that membrane and, oh, I don't know. I don't know where the bear cave would be. Where are we?
Yeah, no, so this is, well, this is the Feywild. I really think if any of you want to survive here, I should probably be heading back now.
Finnick will latch onto that. Like, what do you mean we're in the Feywild? We're in the
That's where
Feywild now.
Yes, that's where we are.
Finnick's just taking notes like frantically.
Taking measurements, checking like
Yeah, like everything.
How warm is it? How much moisture is in the air? Okay, I want to just a quick aside, my friends. We have 10 minutes left in our scheduled session. I have a little more things than that I kind of wanted to do tonight. How are you all feeling? Do you want to finish in 10 minutes as scheduled?
I think it would be nice to finish in 10 minutes, yeah.
Great. So, thank you. Walking out into this twilit landscape, you all notice this stream, and turning around, the hill is gone. You reach your hand through it, what was there as a membrane. You step back to try to return back through that darkness to the hill, find a way back. There's nothing. What for an instant was somehow a portal, and then was simply a dark and bare hill, is now simply missing. And all that's around you is Feywild. Feeling you don't know where you are, and you don't know where would be the nearest place from here to get out.
Ah, that was my best walking stick.
I definitely went north. I don't know what happened.
The mural's full of portals to the Feywild. Don't know what to tell you.
Well, it's very beautiful.
It's that. I'll give you it.
You all head down and into this landscape, heading vaguely north. Finnick, make a quick check with your cartographer's tools.
Woo! 13.
Okay. Matching things up, it does seem as though the landscape has shifted. It's not exactly the same as what it was, but it's really hard to tell. However, it's a little bit hilly in areas. It's very flat in areas. Where you are in kind of a super flat part, you have as a very flat part in your map, your topography from the material plane, So it looks like at least the landscape is somewhat coherent with what you found in the material plane. However, this stream is new. Walking along, you all encounter these beautiful colored mushrooms, just almost the size of yourselves. And if you give me just a second, I'm going to show you all what we're talking about.
Yay.
Can't wait to eat.
Really hope she just puts on a clip of the Smurfs.
They also said almost the size of you, and all I could think was, so the size of me?
Truly,
I'm
Feely's like
3'2".
yeah. I'm 5 foot even.
Wexlarn is literally under half of Feely's size. That's amazing.
2 Wexlarn equals almost 1 Feely. We did the math.
Epiphany is 5'5", but only because I've always wanted to be 5'5", and I'm still crossing my fingers that I'm still growing.
A self-insert.
I had shrank an inch the last time I went to the doctor and got measured. I was like, what? Wait, are you fucking kidding? I'm 5'4" and what? Sorry, that's not okay. All right, so yeah, you see this gorgeous landscape, these shimmering fungal looking things, this beautiful stream winding through it.
I mean, I'll let you pull this up, but Kian wants to try to eat one as soon as he can check.
Okay, Kian.
Would Feely have a sense that they should stop him from that, or?
Ooh.
Oh my god, that's so pretty.
That is awesome.
That's incredible.
Wow. Oh, our little minis.
Okay.
Wow.
A little
Damn.
That's so cool.
That's fucking great.
Wow.
Eat your heart out, Mercer.
Thanks, friends. So I know, we're so happy. Me and my little assistant over here. We love your love. As you also approach closer to the stream, you see clusters of jewels growing up out of rocks and embedded in the bed of the stream. Different colors of gems, blue ones, green ones. Kian, you want to walk up and try to eat one of these mushrooms. And Feely, go ahead and roll a nature check really quick.
Well,
You don't have any particular knowledge about that kind of mushroom necessarily, but I will say that this is a bit more fungus and stuff than what you're used to seeing in an area, you know? It's just like a little bit populated with the mushrooms, and so that gives you maybe a slight amount of pause. So anyway, though, Kian is headed for it. So are you wanting to try and stop him?
I think at the point that it becomes obvious that Kian's about to eat one, would just say, do you really just put anything in your mouth?
All right, Kian, how do you go about this? Do you just like break off a clump, or what are you doing?
Yeah, so I'm gonna like smell it, see if it reminds me of anything toxic, and then yeah.
You're gonna like lean down and smell it, or you're
Yeah.
gonna. Okay. Roll a nature check with disadvantage because you're in the Feywild.
Okay. 20 disadvantage? No, not a nat 20. Nature. 11.
You know, it kind of smells nice. It smells like mushroom.
Okay. I'll like see how malleable is it. Like, can I get kind of a handful? And then I'll like lick it, and see if that seems palatable.
All right, you squish some off. It breaks off like a nice healthy mushroom. A little burst cloud of spores pops out from it as you do. You smell it. You give it a lick. It's delicious, like totally delicious. And it like almost tingles on your tongue, like in a syrupy way. Roll a Constitution saving throw for me.
Oh no. 8.
You watch as the stream becomes almost like a ribbon of light that lifts itself up off of the ground. It kind of turns towards you like with like almost like a light dragon head and smiles like Falcor and says, "Hello, kin. You are fucked up. High as shit."
Is it obvious to everyone? Is it obvious to everyone that she's that he's messed up?
Roll an insight check.
Oh, I mean, Kian's gonna make it obvious real quick, so.
Yeah, I'm gonna join in that insight checking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too.
Phoenix mapping.
Ooh, 16.
Hey, me too.
14. Nice.
Yeah, as you all begin to notice that almost the second that Kian took a lick off of this mushroom, he started like tripping his little face off. Suddenly, you also hear a stunk as a tiny little arrow thuds into the ground nearby you. Stunk as another one does. And you see 3 tiny pixies hovering in the air on the other side of the creek. And next week, we'll roll initiative.
Well, I fucking told you not to eat it.
Mythologue, thank you for joining us for the Mythologue. Come back 5 p.m. Pacific time next Monday for episode 2, and we will pick up with our brave and somewhat foolhardy adventurers as they encounter pixies in the Feywild.
Yeah.